Namaste. Wish you all a very happy International Day of Yoga. 5 years back, some of my students did a survey going around the city of Bangalore, randomly in different places and colleges and market and other places, interviewing about the popularly remembered days. And I did not say when it was February 14 that everybody would remember and have a smile in their face, including children to elders. But when it was asked about other days, rarely they remembered. But today, I'm so happy immensely to see that when I ask about the International Day of Yoga, everybody would say it is on the June 21st. Recently, I had been to a kindergarten school, and then I was amazed to see the children saying Yoga Day is on June 21st. And likely, the elders also do remember, not just in our country, but people around the world in about 193 countries are celebrating this International Day of Yoga on the June 21st. But many keep asking me, why is this day, the June 21st, to be the Yoga Day? Is it that we need to do yoga only that day and then do not do it other days? No. Yoga is something that we need to do every day in our life, not just for a moment or an hour, but it is something which is part of our life. Yoga is way of life. When you understand the concept of yoga better, you will get to know it is the way of life. Likely, as the great saint says, it is an art and science of living. But then why is this day? Just imagine, after this day being declared by the UNO, how many new people who have never done yoga before have started doing yoga? At least for that day's sake, they start going to the nearby yoga centers and start doing yoga. And since then, they have been initiated in the path of yoga. They become regular yoga practitioners. The conversion of yogis becoming more and more throughout the world we can see today. And this is therefore a need of the day was very much felt by a few yogis. And that is how this yoga day had come into existence. Many people think that, yes, of course, the Prime Minister of the country is one who went and declared in the United Nations. So they know that what happened since 2015, but there is a history behind it. That's what I would like to share with you all today. In the mythology, in our Puranas, we see that when there was a wicked Asura called Mahishasura, it wasn't easy for the Devatas to go and fight against him. Indra, Chandra, Shiva, Vishnu, everybody have tried individually, but it wasn't good enough for them to go and fight against him. And therefore, they collectively came together and brought their collective cosmic forces, and a united form of the energy, cosmic conscious Shakti called Durga was brought, and Durga went representing the whole of the Devatas with all their powers in her, and then she could fight against this Asura called Mahishasura. In today's world, we have a lot of menace, a lot of problems that the modern world is facing. A lot of diseases, there is a increase in all the health hazards which the people are facing. You could see just born babies suffering from a lot of health hazards. And the working population, both men and women, are suffering a lot from the so-called stress-related disorders. And elderly people are having a lot of psychosomatic ailments. So the sufferings of men have become a lot, and we need a tool to fight against this. And there have been many people doing their own might in bringing a wonderful cause, but it needed a collective cosmic force to fight against these evils of the society today. And all great yogis of this country came together, starting from Dr. B.K.S. Iyengar, the legendary yoga master, who is called the Bhishma Pitamaha of yoga, Baba Ramdev, Sri Ravi Shankar, Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, Dr. H.R. Nagendra, who is a yoga scientist, and the heads of all major yoga institutes of this country came together to discuss about the way ahead. This happened in the year 2011. And there was one common force who brought all these people together, and I'm proud to say that is our Guruji, Dr. H.R. Nagendra, who is a man who made his journey from Nasa to Vyasa, bringing yoga to door. And when Guruji called all these yogis, they all came together, and that too happened in Bangalore in the year 2011 in the month of December. All of them sat together and discussed about how we can take the yoga ahead in the society. And that is when the brainstorming of these yogis brought the concept of this International Day of Yoga, a day to be declared by the UN and celebrations to be happen everywhere, because already yoga was something practiced worldwide, globally by people. In fact, there are more foreigners today practicing than we Indians. And therefore, when a day is come, everybody can put their energy together and celebrate, this will create more awareness for the non-practitioners also, so that they will all become into the proper lifestyle of yoga. And when they all sat together, started discussing which day to be declared, right, the great thought came, it should not be connected to any personality, any human. Even in yoga, if we regard Patanjali to be the greatest yogi, there are schools of yoga which consider some other Maharishi to be their propagator. So a common day connected to one human being or a rishi or a yogi would be difficult to be accepted by everybody. And therefore these great yogis decided it should not be a day connected to human beings. Or if we say our gods were all yogis and so their days to be declared, there are countries where they don't accept our gods. So there should be something which the universal acceptance would be there. And when you think deep into the concept of yoga, yoga is all about nature, manifesting nature internally and externally, controlling over the nature. If you see the names of all different asanas, there are 84 lakhs of asanas named after 84 lakhs of species, where hardly one asana is named after a human being. The rest is all about other species in the creation, in the nature. And so, considering this, there is a name, asana which is named after tree, vrikshasana, after hill or parvatasana, a flower, lotus, padmasana, garuda, a pakshi, a bird. Like this, every asana is named after different species. And so it is all about nature, and for all these things in the nature, the center force, the energy giver is Surya, sun. And sun gives light, sun gives knowledge, sun dispels darkness. And therefore the day connected to sun was very important in yoga. And that is why, in fact, if you see, the heart of yoga abhyasa happens to be Surya Namaskara. And therefore a day connected to Surya was chosen, the longest day of the year, the summer solstice, June 21st. And when this day was proposed, every yogis were happy and they all endorsed this concept. Of course, the strain of bringing all people together and then making it happen owes to two great yogis, one from the east, Dr. H.R. Nagendraji, one from the west, Swami Amrita Suryananda, who is from the Portugal Yoga Confederation. These two people were a long time discussing about this concept, and they both had traveled and then met all these yogis, brought them together in Bangalore, and that is where this declaration from the yogi side happened. And then it was taken to the then government which was in this country, to the Prime Minister, to the President, and then even to the UN, it was probably sent, but it did not take the right direction which it has to be taken. But when 2014, Bangalore witnessed again a great event. Much before the world saw the advent of the official declaration of the International Day of Yoga, Bangalore witnessed a mega event in BMS College ground at Basavangudi, where 5,000 yoga practitioners gathered together on June 21st, 2014 and observed the World Yoga Day. And that is when, again, it got a boost. The reports were sent to the Prime Minister, the then elected Prime Minister, Manniya Shri Narendra Modi ji. In July, it was handed over to him, and within 3 months, September 27th, the world witnessed the history, what happened. For the first ever time, the Prime Minister of this country, who had been to the UNO, spoke about this noble science of our country, India, yoga, and proposed it as a great way ahead for the world to be united, for the way to see better health and prosperity. We see challenges like climate change and everything, for which yoga is a one-stop solution, is what the Prime Minister proposed it there. And there he appealed to the member nations of the UN General Assembly that they should all put together this concept of Yoga Day. And you know what happened? Out of 193 countries which are the member nations of the UNO, immediately, within a span of 3 months, 177 countries have signed this declaration of Yoga Day. They co-sponsored this declaration of Yoga Day in the UN General Assembly. This is the first ever time in the history of the world. This is the first ever time in the history of the UNO. For one common cause, these many countries have come together, joined hands, and that common cause is yoga. And that makes us really feel proud, because the world has accepted this, but it is Bharat, India, which has given birth to this concept of yoga. And then onwards, the whole world started looking into India for getting yoga teachers, yoga practitioners to come and teach them there. And the demand is increasing more and more. The demand is more, our supply is less. Imagine, every country wants hundreds of yoga teachers, that too from India, because they know that Indian teachers not just simply teach yoga, they live yoga, they breathe yoga. And that is how today, world over, yoga has been very well accepted. And this day, June 21st, which is the longest day of the year, connected to sun, because sun is the central figure of the whole of the nature, cosmos connecting the whole nature. And sun also happens to be, according to a tradition, the first ever yogi who received the science of yoga. Therefore, this day again becomes significant. How do you say, sir, that sun is the first ever yogi who received the science of yoga? Srimad Bhagavad Gita is considered to be an authentic text of yoga. It is called Yoga Shastra. It is not a religious text like what we think. It is not just a text of Hinduism, it is a text of humanity. And in that text called Bhagavad Gita, where Yogeshwara Krishna teaches yoga to counsel Arjuna, who was depressed, who didn't want to do his duty of fighting the war like a king. And Krishna was counseling him, giving him all the science of yoga. And therefore 18 chapters of the Gita are all named after one or the other yoga. Even Arjuna's melancholy, his crying, his depression is where the yoga starts. Therefore it is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. And then Jnana Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, ityadi 18 yogas have been told by Krishna there in the Gita. Then Arjuna had a doubt. Krishna, wait, you and me are cousins. We are of the same contemporary age. We studied in two different schools, but the same syllabus were taught to us. But now you are talking something out of syllabus, yoga, which is not taught to me. That's where Krishna has to say him, come on, my dear friend. It is not the first ever time that I am teaching this to you. I knew this from time immemorial. You and me have taken various births. You know not your births, whereas I remember each and every birth of not only mine, but each one of you. Why? How can you remember? Because Krishna is Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, he is Yogeshwara. He shows his cosmic Vishwarupa to Arjuna. That is where Arjuna understands that Krishna is Sakshat God incarnate. And saying this, Krishna says, this science of yoga, what I am teaching to you in the form of Bhagavad Gita, I did teach it in the beginning of the creation to Vivaswan, who is Surya. So Surya is the first ever receiver because he is ever existing cosmic entity. And from Surya, great many people have come and learned from him. Yajnavalkya learned from him. Hanuman, the great exemplary yogi, learnt the science of yoga from Surya. And even today there are great many yogis who do the Surya Upasana and take this essence of yoga directly from the sun. Sun is not just a celestial being for us. It is a living embodiment of divinity. And it is from him the yoga tradition starts. Therefore, Yogeshwara Krishna, and then Surya, and then Manu, Ikshvaku, Ityadi, through the Raja Parampara, the Raja Yogis were coming. If this is one lineage of yoga, there is another lineage of yoga which is attributed to Lord Shiva, being Yogeshwara. In the beginning again of the creation, Shiva was one manifestation of the Parabrahman who came out, and immediately he started going and doing meditation. He was a yogi called Dakshinamurti. The next in the creation of Brahma was Sanakati Rishis, the four Rishis, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara. As soon as they were created, they didn't want to continue the progeny. They want to be celibate in the Nivritti Marga as yogis. So they followed the elderly yogi Shiva and went and sat under Shiva. And Shiva in Mauna, in silence, taught them the essence of the whole yogas to Sanakati Rishis. Even now you go to any Shiva temple, you can see Dakshinamurti, Shiva being the Adi yogi, sitting and teaching with Chin Mudra in a wonderful yogasana under a Vatavriksha Aladamara. And down there Sanakati Rishis are sitting there. What did he speak? What did he teach them? He taught them silence. Silence is the essence of yoga. When you go deep into the yogic practices, all that we are taught to do is to silently contemplate on ourselves. This Atma Vidya. That is what Shiva taught to the Sanakati Rishis. Guru tu maunam vyakyanam, sishyastu chinna samshayam. So Guru taught in silence, Sishyas understood, and their darkness dispelled. They got knowledge in abundance. That is how Shiva again started the tradition of the Rishi Parampara of yogis. So Krishna's Raja Parampara of yogis, Shiva's Rishi Parampara of yogis, both were necessary for the society to give us this knowledge of yoga. And since then, time immemorial. Today, in the 21st century, we are talking of yoga. But where did this yoga emerge from? Right from the Veda. And today, world accepts that Veda is the oldest ever available literature in the world. And the first of the Veda, the Rig Veda, is where you find the reference of the word yoga. And I do not know how much old the Vedas are, but definitely older than any other scriptures of the world. And therefore, that old is a tradition of yoga. But is it that one old museum piece? No. Even today is relevant, that today also the modern contemporary people are becoming crazy after yoga, that the demand of yoga teachers, as I told you, is increasing proportionately. And that is why we see that yoga is growing day by day and yogis are growing. At the same time, we have some challenges. There are new modern concepts being brought, and then that deteriorates the essential tradition of yoga. So we as the traditional practitioners of yoga should get united to fight against this. Yoga was always, in a way, expansive to accommodate new ideas. Our Vedic tradition says, Ano, Badraha, Kratavo, Yantu, Vishwataha. Let all noble thoughts come from all directions, is our yogic scriptures which says. But same time, novelty doesn't mean distortion of the traditional values. We need to have the traditional values being there, and then new ways of application can be there. Today we see yoga being practiced in schools for children. We see yoga being practiced for corporate professionals, for bureaucrats, women's health, for the geriatric population. Even space astronauts are doing yoga there because they need to maintain the balance of their breath. So that way, for sportsmen and for the soldiers and for everybody, that yoga finds its application. So let's remember the classical form of yoga. It is passed down from time immemorial from the Vedic rishis, from Yogeshwara Krishna, from Yogeshwara Shiva, from the yogis like Maharshi Patanjali and Vasishta and all great yogis. Let's learn from them and apply that in our day-to-day life for a better future that we need to take ahead. Come, let us join together and practice yoga in this International Day of Yoga. And not just on this one particular day, let us take yoga ahead as our part of our daily life. Through this we can make a new beginning and continue a fresh generation of yogis. Thank you.